Imagine discovering that your life isn't shaped by your actions, your talents, or even your goals, but by something much quieter, something you ignore every day. It's your focus. And here's the twist most people never hear. What you constantly think about isn't just influencing your emotions, it's creating your reality. You're not seeing the world as it is. You're seeing it through the filter of what your attention clings to. That pain you keep replaying, that failure you can't stop thinking about. You're building a life around it, and the worst part is you think it's just how life is. It's not. The truth is, the version of you you're living through right now might just be the result of where you've unconsciously placed your focus, not who you really are. So what happens if you stop feeding those same thoughts and start redirecting your awareness? What happens when you take your attention back and place it, on purpose, where it actually builds you? This might be the most important mental shift you'll ever make. 1. The trap of unconscious focus. He doesn't even notice it happening. Every time his mind replays that argument, every time he thinks about what's missing or how much time he's lost, he's feeding that version of life with fuel. Focus isn't just thinking, it's the raw material of creation. The problem is that most people are pouring all their attention into problems, into pain, into everything they don't want to experience again. And then they wonder why those same situations seem to loop back around like bad sequels. She wakes up already worried, already tense, because her attention has been trained to look for threats. The bills, the job, the one message that never came, they all compete for space in her mental screen. Without realizing it, she's building her reality based on what she fears, not what she wants. That's the trap. The mind thinks it's solving something, but it's actually locking her into it. It's hard to climb out when the ladder is made of the same thoughts that buried you. It's not that he doesn't want to change. He does. But his focus is stuck in survival mode, and as long as survival is the lens, possibility stays out of sight. A man who only watches the rain never sees the rainbow behind the clouds. If you spend your whole day zoomed in on what's wrong, you'll miss everything that could go right. You don't need superpowers to shift your life, just the guts to shift your focus. Take this simple example. Someone breaks your trust. You can replay that betrayal every day or shift attention to what you learned, how you grew, and who you've become since. One feeds the wound. The other feeds your strength. Every thought is an investment. If you keep funding the pain, don't be shocked when it starts expanding. And here's what most never consider. Your focus doesn't just shape what you see, it shapes who you become. 2. The brain's filtering system. The brain is powerful, but it's not as objective as people think. It doesn't process everything, it selects. And what it selects is directly influenced by your focus. There's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, and it works like a bouncer at a club. It lets in what you're emotionally invested in and ignores the rest. That means if you're constantly thinking, life's unfair, your brain will keep proving it's right by filtering your experience through that lens. Imagine walking through a city wearing glasses that highlight only trash on the streets. You'd come back saying, "What a filthy place," even though others saw music, art, and laughter. That's how focus works. It highlights what matches your inner world. A man focused on being behind in life will miss the compliments, the smiles, the wins. Meanwhile, someone who trains his awareness to catch progress will spot gold in places he used to ignore. Think about that friend who always sees the worst in people. No matter who walks in the room, they'll find something to criticize. That's not reality. It's their mental filter at work. If you want to experience more peace, more joy, more confidence, you have to tune your mental playlist to those frequencies. Your brain isn't trying to mess with you. It's just loyal to your focus. But loyalty without awareness can build a prison. Now here's the kicker. Yes, this one is allowed. You can hack the system, not by faking happiness or avoiding problems, but by choosing to spotlight different things. Instead of focusing on everything going wrong, ask yourself, what's working? What small win did I have today? What moment did I handle better than yesterday? That's how you train your attention to stop being a saboteur and start becoming a support system. 3. Identity is built through focus. Most people think identity is something you discover, like it's buried somewhere waiting to be found. But the truth is, identity is built brick by brick, thought by thought, focus by focus. The version of you that shows up every day is the version you've been feeding with your attention. If your thoughts constantly orbit around failure, doubt, or how stuck you feel, your identity will start to take the shape of those very beliefs. It's not destiny, it's repetition. Let's say a man keeps telling himself he's not good enough. It starts with one thought, but then he notices every little mistake, every rejection, every delay. And every time his mind says, "See, I told you." That version of him gets stronger, not because it's real, but because it's familiar. His awareness doesn't expand because he's focused on reinforcing what already hurts. Focus becomes identity when it's left unchecked. Think of someone learning a new language. In the beginning, they struggle, mispronounce, and forget words. But if they keep showing up and focus on progress, no matter how small, they start identifying as someone who's capable. Identity isn't built through perfection. It's built through repetition with direction. Same goes for becoming more confident, more disciplined, or more peaceful. Focus is the tool. Identity is the result. And that's where the shift begins. Instead of asking, "Who am I?" try asking, "What have I been focusing on lately?" That question reveals the blueprint of who you think you are. The good news? You can change the answer. You don't have to wait for some external transformation. You can start reshaping your identity simply by choosing where your focus lives, and more importantly, where it doesn't. 4. How the world hijacks your attention. There's a war going on for your attention, and most people don't even realize they're losing it. Every scroll, every notification, every headline is a silent tug pulling your focus away from what actually matters. The world is loud, fast, and built to hijack your awareness. And the longer your attention stays scattered, the harder it gets to remember who you are beneath all the noise. It's like trying to hear your own thoughts in the middle of a crowded concert. Take a regular morning. You wake up, check your phone, see the news, a message from your boss, someone else's perfect vacation on Instagram, and boom. Your attention is already divided into 5 directions before you've even had coffee. No wonder you feel anxious or disconnected. You didn't choose your focus. It was chosen for you, and unless you pause, it'll stay that way all day, every day. This is why it's so important to take your power back. You don't need to disappear into a monastery to reclaim your focus. You just need to become intentional. Maybe it's 5 minutes of silence before your day starts. Maybe it's deleting one app that always drains you. Maybe it's asking, is this adding clarity or just chaos? Those tiny moves give your focus breathing room. And when your focus breathes, your awareness expands. The real damage isn't the distraction, it's the identity you start building around it. If your attention is always reacting, never choosing, you start to believe that you're scattered, unfocused, lazy. But that's not who you are. It's just what you've been reinforcing. And once you start to see that, you begin noticing something else the mind never showed you before. 5. The illusion of control. There's something oddly comforting about focusing on problems. It gives the illusion that you're doing something about them. But in reality, most of the time, you're not solving. You're spiraling. The mind loves certainty, even if it's painful. It would rather loop an old story than face the blank page of a new one. That's why so many people stay stuck in patterns that drain them. It feels safer than stepping into unfamiliar peace. Take someone who's been betrayed. Instead of moving forward, their focus stays glued to the betrayal, replaying it, analyzing it, arguing with it in their head. The mind whispers, if we understand it more, we'll feel better. But weeks pass, then months, and the only thing that grows is resentment. That's the trap. Focusing on the pain doesn't heal it, it just keeps the wound open. Real control isn't about knowing what'll happen next. It's about choosing where your attention goes, no matter what's happening. Let's say your business isn't growing. You could obsess over the problem, scroll through your bank app 20 times a day, or you could redirect your focus to creative solutions. New offers, new skills, new people to connect with. One direction leads to exhaustion, the other to evolution. This is the turning point most people resist. Letting go of control feels like letting go of safety. But the truth is, when you redirect your focus from problems to possibilities, you're not losing control. You're finally using it properly. And once that realization lands, something strange begins to happen inside the mind. 6. Starve what drains you. Not everything that crosses your mind deserves a seat at your table, but most people are out here feeding every thought like it's a starving guest. That voice that says you're behind in life, you've been feeding it for years with focus, repeating the same dialogue every time things get quiet. The more attention you give it, the more real it feels. But that voice, it's just a loop. It's not truth. It's a pattern. Now imagine starving it, not arguing with it, not trying to fix it, just refusing to feed it. When the thought pops up, you gently say, "Not today," and put your focus somewhere else, somewhere lighter. Maybe it's a small win, maybe a new idea, maybe just how good your coffee tastes. That redirection seems tiny, but it compounds like interest. What you ignore begins to shrink. What you notice begins to grow. Let's say someone always spirals into doubt after a tough conversation. Instead of replaying every word, they shift their focus to what they handled well. Maybe they stayed calm. Maybe they spoke their truth. Maybe they walked away instead of people-pleasing. That shift doesn't erase the discomfort, but it starves the spiral. And what's left is space. Space to breathe, space to rebuild. This isn't about ignoring problems. It's about refusing to nourish what's been slowly killing your energy. That one emotional loop you keep falling into, you don't owe it another minute of your life. The question is, what would happen if you stopped feeding it? What would grow in its place? 7. Attention over intention. Everyone talks about intention, setting goals, visualizing dreams, writing affirmations. That's great, but without attention, it's just noise. You can have the most beautiful vision board on your wall, but if your daily focus is still on what's missing or what's going wrong, you're swimming upstream. Attention is the engine behind every shift. It's not the wish that moves your life. It's where your eyes land every single day. Picture a man who says he wants peace, but spends his mornings scrolling through drama and his nights arguing with memories. His intention says growth, but his attention says stuck. That disconnect is why change feels impossible. It's not that he's broken, it's just that his focus hasn't caught up to his desire. And that's the part no one teaches. Your reality listens to what you pay attention to, not what you hope for. Think about how you start your day. Is your mind already running a checklist of stress before your feet hit the floor? Try this instead. Before anything else, sit in silence for 3 minutes. Breathe. Ask yourself, where do I want my focus to live today? It could be gratitude, clarity, confidence, or just not reacting to every little thing. That shift in attention is more powerful than 100 affirmations on autopilot. When you clean up your focus, your life starts making more sense. You stop making decisions from fear. You stop chasing validation, and suddenly your energy starts flowing in the direction you actually want to go. You don't have to be more motivated, you just have to get more precise about what you're looking at, because that, more than anything else, is what's shaping you. 8. Your true self has always been there. People spend years trying to find themselves, as if they're lost in the jungle. But the truth is, they're not lost. They're just buried under years of noise, doubt, and distraction. The real you, the calm you, the aware you, it's been there the whole time. You just haven't looked in its direction for a while, and that's not your fault. The world's louder than ever, and silence rarely shouts for attention. Every time you focus on your flaws, your failures, or what didn't work, you build a stronger relationship with a version of yourself that isn't even real. It's a shadow built from old stories and emotional leftovers, but beneath all that is your real identity. Not a perfect one, not a superhero, just someone who's present, clear, and awake. That's who you are when your attention stops chasing every external storm. Let's say you're constantly trying to be more confident. Instead of obsessing over what confidence should look like, what if you turned your focus toward moments when you already were? That time you spoke your truth. That time you said no. That time you showed up despite the fear. Those aren't small moments. They're evidence. The more you focus on them, the more you start to recognize the version of you that's already aligned. You don't have to reinvent yourself. You just have to stop feeding the noise that's been drowning out your awareness. Your power isn't somewhere far away. It's right here, right now, quietly waiting behind your next choice of focus. And once you start looking in that direction, something deeper begins to rise to the surface. If you want to elevate your vibrations and manifest with more ease, I have prepared something special for you. Click the link in the first pinned comment and join us in the journey of awakening your inner mage.